tall plant behind it, makes it nice and welcoming when you come in, and gives your eye something to look at other than just everything on a low level.
Apart from the huge upper deck area, Greg and Mandy have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and a sitting room to paint and furnish. To help with colour schemes, fabric and textures, they seek advice from Adrienne Chinn, an interior designer.
Okay, so what I've done is I've given you 2 nice big sofas because you've got a lot of space here. You can afford to have nice, large pieces of furniture.
Yeah.
I think the main thing about using an interior designer is that they should really help the client develop a design that they didn't even realize was the design they wanted in the end, which isn't to say me putting my design onto them, but taking out from them what it is that they want in their home environment. But you'll come to it in a more interesting way because your eye will have things to look at in your travels down to the end.
Yeah.
And that's what they do, for instance, in garden design, where they always say, make sure that it's kind of a curving way to the end of your garden. It's much more interesting. Ergonomics is a science of the use of space and the use of movement in space. And this has become very important in the last 50 years, particularly. And for instance, an example of ergonomics is how you design a kitchen. And we have something called the work triangle. And that is how you move between the sink and the fridge and the oven. And ideally, in a well-planned kitchen where ergonomics has really been thought out, that triangle is the smallest triangle you can make in that space. And that shows that you are having to expend less energy to achieve the goals of the work in the kitchen, and therefore that is proper use of the movement and the space, and that's the science of ergonomics. Images. And what helps me before I go off and start doing the sourcing for fabrics or furniture is if I put together what I call a mood board, which is images which to my mind answer what your brief is. And that's what I've done here. I've just trolled through all sorts of interiors magazines and pulled out some images which I think answer what your brief was. I find mood boards a very interesting tool when I'm working with clients, and it's really, their main purpose is to show a client a theme or an idea for a space. Sometimes I hide slightly provocative images on the mood board with regards to unusual pieces of furniture or wall finishes or something like that, and I get quite strong reactions from clients. But that isn't a bad thing. This is early days in the design process, and it helps me know whether I'm going in the right direction with the design. We're looking for a bit of a different look down here, I understand.
Yes.
And when I met you, you said that you were looking for something a bit more autumnal and warm and cozy.
Yep.
Especially a place that you could come and be cozy. I think people need to be braver with colours. I think the Georgians were fantastically brave with colour. They used lime greens and salmon pinks and Wedgwood blues. And the Victorians, okay, the colour isn't our taste, but they used a lot of deep, rich colours, rich reds, rich greens, rich gold colours. They weren't afraid of colour, nor were they afraid of pattern, I have to say. We have become so timid with what we put into our environments. Everybody's afraid to do anything that's beyond beige. And why is that? That is like bland living. There is nothing wrong with having a lime green cushion with a bright pink cushion with a bright orange cushion. The whole thing about color is keeping what I call the tonal values, the same kind of level of brightness of a color across however many colors you want. And then as a final little accent on your sofa, why not just put on a fantastic paisley throw and you can really curl up in that. It brings in all your colors and just kind of ties it all together.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think an interior designer can be affordable. It's all about how you want to use an interior designer's special skills and their training. And the most affordable way to use an interior designer is probably via a consultation with you with regards to one space. If you have a bathroom, a kitchen, or a living room, or a bedroom, for instance, just needs to be one room that you need help with. You can contact an interior designer and ask them to work with you on a design for that one room. They'll give you a flat fee they'll quote you a flat fee for that, and you'll know what you're paying, and from that you'll come away with drawings, sample boards and suggestions for furniture that you can then take with you and go off and go to the sales and do what you want with that information. But you've got a design.
The estimated cost of Greg and Mandy's ambitious project should have been £300,000, including the mooring at £100,000 and the Thames barge for £30,000. But despite all the delays and all the unforeseen problems converting an old barge, they have managed to create a luxury houseboat moored in central London for £375,000. One estimate today puts its value at £750,000. For Greg and Mandy to take on a project of this scale is brave. Perhaps the combination of Greg's attention to detail and Mandy's relaxed approach has enabled them to achieve their goal.